Well, welcome to the Christy Jones Show, where it's all about living your life to the fullest. I'm a life coach, speaker, and business owner in multifamily real estate, and I've had wild success in multifamily housing for over 25 years now. I am so passionate about helping others merge their success and lead a fulfilling life, and I bring it all together right here on this podcast. So join me and let's get started to live your life to the fullest. Before we jump into this week's podcast, I got to let you know, I had so much to share on this topic that I've had to break this up into a two-part series. So today is part one, and it's for men and women on hormone health, how to, go into the aging process, feeling your best, and longevity, wellness. Like, I'm sharing so much of what I've learned. So this is for the men and women. And don't think you're too young to hear this, because trust me, you want to get a jump start on this. And then next week, come back to the podcast. I've got part two, jumping into specifically perimenopause and menopause. All right. Thanks for being here. I hope you like the show. Well, hey, my friend, welcome back to another week here on the podcast. Thank you for being here today. This is going to be fire. You want to save this episode. Today, I'm going to talk about hormone health, both men and women. Hormone health, aging, longevity, how you can move into getting older, feeling on fire and so excited and lit up about it. And that's what we're going to dive into. So let's just go right for it. I'm going to start off and talk things that would apply to both men and women. And then at the end, after I do that, I'm going to fold into specifically perimenopause for women and also menopause. September is, I think it's called Perimenopause Awareness Month. I don't know how they decide this stuff. Who knows? All I know is it's been showing up in a lot of my email and on my social media. So it's also a big focus topic of mine, personally, obviously. And so I thought, well, I might as well cover this right now and just as close. Hopefully I can get this in for an episode for September, but if not, as soon as the month wraps up. And I know that you're going to want to save this if you're like, well, that doesn't really apply to me yet, but I want to go back to that, or I want to share this with a friend that I know is dealing with this exact thing. All right, so let's just start off talking about hormone health in general and longevity and wellness. And this is going to apply whether you're a man or a woman. First, I want to talk about that. Can we just agree that getting older is a blessing? It is a gift. It is amazing. And I'm kind of personally, I will say, I'm just kind of done and tired of the narrative when I hear people say, oh, and I'm talking about, these are more midlifers. So I'm 54. So whatever you want to call midlife, I actually call myself midlife because I firmly believe I'm going to surpass 100 for sure. And I want to make sure that I feel good for as many years as possible, and that I'm as excited about as many years as possible. I want to suck everything I can out of this experience of living life to the fullest. So I was just going to tell you that I get really irritated with, and again, this is more like as we get older. I don't hear people, say this in their teens and 20s, but at some point people start saying, oh, it's just all downhill from here, or aging sucks, or it sucks getting older, or man, it's depressing. Create some distance between yourself and those individuals that are just so bummed out about the gift of getting older. Surround yourself with people that are excited about it, that see it as a blessing, that are like, okay, yeah, what doesn't have challenges, right? We have challenges when we're younger. You have challenges when you're older. They just look different. The thing is, you want to get good at overcoming obstacles and challenges. And when your mind, the way you think, your thoughts, your mindset, when it's set up for success, it really doesn't matter what stage of life you're in. You're going to go through that successfully and create whatever it is you're wanting to create for yourself and your experience. So I'm just done with the whole, aging sucks and it's all downhill. Why can I not say that word? It's all downhill from here. What's another one I hear? Oh, things like, what's the point? Or it's just like a give up mentality. Like, that's sad. It's sad. We don't want to do that. So it's a gift. If you are able to get older, if you are able, like, don't take that for granted at all. What a blessing that we get to have all this experience and we get to pull from all the wisdom that we've acquired. And we get to step into what it's going to look like for each of us as we move through life, through each season of life. So I don't care if you're in your 20s, your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, or beyond, you can still be super excited about your life and about how you're moving through this aging process. So I'm going to start with, so I just wanted to share that because I mean, that's how I look at it. I'm excited about it. I feel like there's really, yes, I understand like unexpected things can happen. And even when we do like set out with the best intentions, I mean, I know I've had some of those own things happen in my life. Like crap happens, things happen that you're like, wow, I mean, I've done everything to where I would avoid that, but I get it. Like surprises and situations and unfortunate things still can come about. That can come about, my friend, at any point in your life. Okay. So that's just part of our human experience. We get to roll the dice and it is what it is. What we can do is better equip our minds and our hearts and our bodies and our souls for how we are going to navigate that. So even those big surprises that we get. So let me just get started with hormone health. I got a little off on a tangent, which I do from time to time. So thanks for staying with me. Okay, so on hormone health, what I want to talk about is I'm going to talk to men and women that, let's talk about late 30s, 40-ish, somewhere in there. So if you're younger than that, this is still beneficial to you because you want to have the awareness. I want to help you have the awareness as you approach that time of your life. And some of this stuff is going to be things you can do right now, even if you are younger, okay? That's going to better set you up for optimal experience, health, how you feel, all of it. But really when people start noticing is going to be in their late 30s to 40. Definitely once you get in your 40s for sure. But it definitely starts showing its little indicators in our mid to late 30s. So here are the things that obviously I can't touch on every single thing. I'm going to just kind of the things that are like the big buttons that I want you to like have and remember that these are kind of the big ones for that, in my opinion, for me. So our hormone levels, they decline as we age. Okay. So in that age range that I just talked about. So like in your late 30s, probably going to happen. Might happen sooner, might happen a little later, but that's the reference range. And so our hormone levels start to decline with age. Now, I had no idea how important hormone levels were in so many different functions within my body. Like, I'll be real. I mean, I always just equated hormones to like sexual hormones. I never really thought about hormones and brain health, or hormones and heart health, or hormones and bone health. Like all the years, in my younger years until I got to this place in life right now, I always, when hormone conversations came up, to me, that meant like hormone health, sex drive, libido, fertility things like, as a woman, you talk about, your hormones throughout the month, things like that. But, men have their hormone like ebbs and flows and through their like teens and young adult years and all of that. So that's what I always thought. of hormones was I totally pocketed it in with sexual health or reproductive health or things like that. Never did I know that our hormones have so much to do with so many other functions in our body. So as those levels start to decline, and probably you start noticing like little changes in your body, in your function, in the way your brain feels, in your cognitive, in your fatigue level or your energy level. And all these little, like, I just call them like these little monsters kind of just start like popping up their little head. Okay, here's a good way to describe it. Um, what is the name of that place? It's like you go there for kid birthday parties. Chuck E. Cheese, something like that. I think that's it. Anyways, there's this game where you like hold this like hammer thing, and it's you put a token in, and then all these, I think they're like groundhogs or something, they all like start popping their head up out of the holes, and then you're supposed to like take the hammer and like punch them each time they come up, and then you earn points for every time you do it. That's what I think of. I know that's a crazy analogy, but I swear that's what it feels like. So when these little shifts start happening, both, and I hear this from men too, but obviously women, I'm talking late 30s, same with men, the testosterone starts adjusting in your late 30s or 40-ish. It's like you're taking that rubber mallet and you're like, one little issue pops up and you're like, boom. But you're not thinking, oh, it's related to my hormones. Or you have another little medical thing and you're like, oh, boom, hit it. Or you have another symptom that comes up and you're like, you take the little thing and you whack it like that little mole. And it's like you're trying to plug all the holes. And often what happens is there's a whole like chain of events that potentially could be happening because of the adjustments in your hormone levels. So keep that in mind. If you're in that window of age, okay, it's definitely something that you want to look into and talk to your doctor about. Not only your hormone levels, but I highly encourage in your 30s that it's an excellent time to get with your doctor, might be your primary care doctor. My doctor did that, my OBGYN, but honestly, like, I mean, what was that? Like, I don't know, was that 15 years ago or so, 20 years ago? I mean, she did a full panel, but when I started talking to her about some of the things as I was hitting 40, I guess that was only 14 years ago. I mean, it was just explained away. She didn't really, and you're going to run into this potentially because doctors, it's like they want to tell you you're not feeling what you're feeling, or you're feeling it and then there's a medication for it. Like I remember they were trying to prescribe me an antidepressant for some things that I was feeling that I was like, but I'm not depressed. She's like, I know, but the antidepressant, and it was perimenopausal symptoms. But it's not just my doctor. You hear that a lot. It's just, if you're a woman and you're hearing this and you've been on that like hamster wheel of going to doctors, trying to figure crap out, you've probably know exactly what I'm talking about. You don't want to give up. You want to keep talking, keep going till you find a doctor that connects with you, that will listen to you, that will listen to your symptoms. Sometimes it takes a combination of a functional medicine doctor and your primary care doctor or your OBGYN. I mean, you just got to get really creative and keep going until you find someone, even a doctor that specializes in hormone health. So do not give up, because they will make you feel like you're crazy at times. Like literally they just try to tell you, oh no, you're not feeling that. Yeah, I am. Are you in my body? Like, did we like switch roles or something? So not only checking your hormone levels, I'm still talking to the guys and the gals out there, okay, late 30s, 40-ish time frame, but also like a nutritional panel. I got with a nutritionist and I was just really lucky. I was actually in my late 40s by the time I did this, and did a full panel and looked at like all the things, right? Not just the vitamin D that my regular doctor was looking at, but I mean everything. And really with a nutritionist, I'll link him in show notes too. I was able to put together a plan of exactly what I needed right then to kind of boost my levels of what I was low in. Also, what particular foods I needed to make sure I was eating, and then what I needed to be supplementing with, and all of that. So the more you can educate yourself on um, your nutritional plan, then the more you can better understand your body's chemistry. And the only way to do that is you got to get some data, right? You got to have some labs done. You got to look at some information, and then you got to, and usually that first big one is going to be a big indicator, but you make the adjustments, you take what you need to take, and maybe I don't remember if they had me redo it like 6 months later, or if I waited, I think it was around 6 months or so. And then we re-looked at things, right? And to see like where my level's at, and also how am I feeling, and compare that to like what the data was coming out at. So, but at that point, still, I had not addressed my hormone health. This was just all nutritional. So what my point is that be aware of, learn about your hormones, get educated on what's going on with your hormones, what are your levels, you need to know that. And then also dig into the nutritional side of things, know what your markers are, get really familiar with that. I mean, it's really interesting once you dive into it. You're like a chemistry project. My husband always says, you're like a walking chemistry project. I'm like, I know. That's why I'm so interesting. I don't know. That's just the comeback line I give him. But anyways, okay, so let me look at my notes here. So the hormones, the nutrition, sometimes you have to reach out and look into functional medicine. I have found that to be the case. And also doctors that specialize in hormone therapy. So guys, for you, it's the testosterone, and it affects so much of how you feel. Maybe you're like fatigued, your energy levels dropped, your interest in just things that you used to be interested in. And yeah, I mean, obviously sex drive and sexual function and things like that, but it's not just that. It could be other things that you're like, you're not really attributing it to a fluctuation in your hormones, or that you're not producing as much testosterone. There's that whole weight gain thing and the change in muscle mass. Testosterone really affects that. And so I just kind of normalize that conversation, because number one, it's nothing to like be embarrassed or ashamed about. It's a human body. And over time, it quits making certain things at certain levels. So why not at least know or understand? Not that you have to do anything about it. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nurse. I'm telling you what I've learned from my experience. And that's all I'm doing, is I'm sharing my experience, because I've learned so much from other people that have gone down this journey, and that's how I got some information. And it caused me to look into some things and do some research. So I think when we talk about it, like a light bulb might go off in your head. So by no means, you don't have to do anything. You don't. I'm just telling you, if you want to know of some options, that's what I'm here to share. So on the hormone health, for guys and gals, so we don't produce it as well. We don't produce the same amount. And so for guys, there's there's hormone replacement therapy. There's a lot of different options. There's different types. So I'm not going to go into all of that, but I'm just going to say, look into that if you want to know more about it. There are hormone specialists or doctors that focus more on optimization of hormones, is what I like to call it, because I'm looking for kind of that sweet spot for myself of what benefits my health the most, and what also gives me that optimal level of where my body operates the best and my brain operates the best. So I really want to take that stigma out of it. And I know sometimes guys, like, it's usually us women that are like urging our husbands, boyfriends, all the things that you need to go to the doctor, you need to get something looked into, because you guys will sit home literally sometimes and like die in a chair. because you're sick. And we're like, you need to go to urgent care. And it's because we love you men. We want you to feel amazing. We want you to be healthy. So know that no shame in the game. Like, let's find out what it's going to take for you to feel your best and to be the optimal wellness that feels right for you. And okay, so now women, same conversation. Like, quit feeling like, okay, I think sometimes women think that there's like a prize if we like carry the sword of going through perimenopause, the hormone changes, all the things, because we're just going to tough it out. There's no award, just so you know. There's no like, it's not like the Olympics. There's not a gold, silver, bronze category. It's just your experience. So it's whatever you want to experience. And there's no right or wrong. So you can choose to not optimize hormones. You can choose to just literally, just to go through the process. Perfectly fine. Absolutely fine. Nothing wrong with that. I just want to have the conversation of what I've chosen to do, just to give you the information so that you can then decide, do I want to look into that or do I not? That's it. Okay, so for men and women, I'm going to wrap up my combo conversation for men and women as far as that time when things are starting to decline, our hormone levels are starting to shift. So that late 30-ish, 40-ish time frame. Here's some other things besides the hormone things that I want you to have on your radar. I want you to have that I had on my radar, but this applies to men and women, that can help you feel your best as you age. So hormones optimization, be aware of it. You can do something about it, not do something about it. It's totally a personal choice. Vitamin D levels. Know your vitamin D levels. Know where you feel the best. I have found that vitamin D is absolutely critical, and specifically D3. And I think it's D3. I'd have to look at my bottle. I think it's D3 with K, because it helps the absorption rate of that. Yeah, we get out in the sun and all of that, but you would just be surprised. I'm in the sun a lot. And when I started looking into my vitamin D levels, I was surprised at how like marginal, I was like barely over the normal level. So yes, you can get it from sunshine, but vitamin D supplementation is something that's very helpful. So no, vitamin D is very important, D3. Magnesium, that's another one. That's something that makes you a little tired. It's like calming. So that's like a nighttime supplement. B12, energy. B12 is something that you might want to research and look into. Things like IV therapy. When I say IV therapy is not a regular thing. It might be a once in a while thing. And it might be a quick way for you to get a boost of a particular group of vitamins and minerals. So they're all over the place. If you just kind of Google for IV therapies. And there's also, well, I'm going to talk about this later, but I'm doing, is it glue? What was that called? I just had one. I was in Carlsbad, California, and I had gone for some IV therapy, glutathione, and I had them add that in, and it's an amazing antioxidant. And so that's one to have on your radar and to see if that might be a good fit for you. So there's also NADs, which I am just now personally stepping into that space of NAD. Now, NAD, I'm going to actually go into that more later, but actually, I will tell you right now about NADs. I'm just now stepping into the arena of NADs. It's nothing new. It's been around a long time. A lot of athletes, a lot of people that have required a lot of their body have been doing NADs, supplements, and IV therapy is really, they say, very effective, but it's also very expensive. And it's very time consuming too, because it's I think what they told me is the NAD IV therapy, you have to sit for, You have to allow 5 to 6 hours for it to enter your body. And that was one of the opinions I had at one of the places I had gone to. But like I said, it's super expensive. So there's other ways. There's NAD injections, and there's also NAD oral supplementation. So, obviously, anytime you take anything oral, it's got to work through your digestive system, right? So the absorption, the quality of how our bodies absorb any food or supplement really has to do with how good our gut is and how good we're absorbing that. But I look at it like, it's a more cost-effective way to do it. And if I'm, have good gut health and I'm taking good care of myself, I'm going to feel like I'm going to get some good benefit from taking it orally. Obviously, yes, the IV therapy, I understand, is uber beneficial, but like I said, it's super expensive. And the actual shot injections are less expensive. And what I'm learning is that it's a great booster to do maybe like once or twice a month. And then do your oral supplementation every day. So what is NAD? Well, here is what NAD is. So it basically, and this is in Christy terms, okay? Because I like to explain it to you the way that I would tell a friend. So NAD is basically something that our body automatically already makes. And obviously, just like in all things, we make things really good when we're real young. And then as we get older, our body's ability to produce the NAD is less effective. It doesn't do it as well. And NAD, when we supplement and we give our body back the NAD, it really affects us at the cellular level. And it reverses the way I understand it, the way I would explain it is it reverses the damage to the mitochondria. Now you're like, what the hell is mitochondria? Well, just go Google it because I don't want to spend all the time here on this podcast explaining that. But let me tell you this. So, okay, we've got chromosomes. This is just like the real brief description. So we have chromosomes. At the end of our chromosomes, they're called telomeres. It's like the ends of the chromosomes. And as we get older, those telomeres shorten. I've used the word they get damaged. So they're not as young as they used to be. So the ends of the chromosomes have telomeres, and the telomeres start to, like, if I was looking at them online through like a microscope and looking at the images, and if you Google that, look at that or whatever, you'll see that you can see the little changes on the telomeres, like how they start to look different as it ages. So NAD basically puts that back into your body, and it's helping with that damage of the telomeres. They've actually seen improvement to the telomeres. So all kinds of benefits. I mean, fatigue, energy, cellular repair. So NAD is really interesting to me. And so I've actually just started it. So I'm really excited to see how I experience that. But the glutathione is another thing that I know you can take orally too. But I had done that in an IV therapy and started weaving that into my kind of repertoire as well. So anyways, that's what I wanted to wrap on when it comes to men and women and things that you need to have on your radar. So I want you to like step into aging feeling amazing. Okay. Now, outside of those few things that I just mentioned, here are some things that this is why we, even outside of these other things I just talked about, like, you have so much power in how you move through the aging process, because these are things that doesn't require anything except your awareness and your discipline on them. Things like your nutrition. And I have found increasing my protein intake as I've gotten older has had so much benefit for me. Focusing on your nutrition, what you put in your body, your hydration, and your food. Like, you can't put crappy gas in a luxury car and expect that luxury car to run like a luxury car. It's not going to happen. So you've got to start valuing yourself as much as you would value if you had a luxury car sitting in your driveway. You better value yourself at least as much as that. So pay attention to what you're putting inside your body. Give yourself just the basic building blocks that's going to help you feel your best. Exercise. Exercise is everything. My son, Redford Jones, who is the founder and owner of Jones Performance, and my trainer, and I get personalized programming from him. But one of the things, he used to have a group session in San Diego, and there was a group of us it was very individualized training, and we would meet and the early mornings, and I remember him telling us that motion is lotion. And we were all kind of in that same age group. Well, a lot of us were. I would say 40 to 55 at the time, maybe. And he was like, motion is lotion. Like when we stop moving, that is when that our bodies want movement. Our bodies want movement. So exercise is so important, so important. You've got to move your body. You've got to find something that you enjoy. I believe that muscle is the longevity. It's like the golden nugget of longevity. Muscle is everything. Building muscle, putting muscle on our skeletal system is so transformative in what it can do for your aging process, your health, and your wellness. Sleep, your quality of sleep, like how you restore yourself, your quality of sleep is again something you can master, figure out that you have an effect on. That is so important to how you feel, to how stress, and the cortisol levels of our body. Like our body needs good sleep. And also to try to also look at ways to reduce the stress in your life. And a lot of times, you know what that is? Everybody thinks, oh, well, but if I made more money, I wouldn't be so stressed out. Or if my kids behaved this way, I wouldn't be so stressed out. Or if my spouse did XYZ, I wouldn't be so stressed out. Or if my boss XYZ, I wouldn't be so stressed out. That all might be fine and well, but I want to encourage you and empower you that your perspective, your mindset, the way you are looking at things is affecting your stress level, period. So you need to empower yourself to decide how you need to reframe, rethink, refresh perspective. So that's how you can reduce your stress. You are responsible for you. And when you let go of trying to be responsible for other people's actions, words, behaviors, responses, when you let go of that, you know what's going to happen? Your stress level is going to go down, my friend. Trust me. Trust me. I know. Your stress level will go down for sure. For sure. So that is my nuggets of what you can do to, start looking into researching for yourself to make your process of getting older, of aging, of stepping into just all the amazing benefits that we get to, if we get to grow older, have another day, have another week, have another 6 months, have another year, that you're in the driver's seat for that, how that experience feels and how you view that. So I hope that's your takeaway from our conversation. I want to thank you for tuning in today to the podcast, and I hope you've enjoyed the conversation and all the info that's been shared today. And I hope you've come away with a few ideas on how to make the most out of it for your life. If you loved this episode, be sure to share it with your friends and family. And also make sure you subscribe to the podcast and tap that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Also, It would mean the absolute world to me if you would leave a podcast review. So until next time, my friend, keep flourishing and thriving and live your life to the